What's going on, guys? My name is Renegade. Today we're here to ask and answer the question, how good is Eternal Inversionist class? Now before we get into the video, if you guys could leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, that'd be great. So yeah, the class is available for 2,000 vintage coins from the game menu in the class shop. It's just here, if you're wondering, just the class shop here. Or you can go to /join 4D pyramid. Now you don't actually spell it with a 4, you spell it like actually spelling the word 4, so 4D pyramid like so. You need to have rank 10 Eternal, which you can get from completing quests in the area around here. This event is pretty new, so I'd recommend you go to the design notes, sorry, not the design notes, the wiki, to look at the quests and such available. Now, I click on the map icon here if you've got rank 10 Eternal, and you need to go to the 4D Pyramid rep shop, and the class is just here. It's 250k gold. As for the class itself, I'll go to Shadow Realm to demonstrate this class for you guys. So the class itself, I'd recommend enhancing it with luck. As you can see by the stats here, it kind of would benefit from fighter enhancements, but fighter enhancements are kind of weak at the moment in AQW. Hopefully they fix that with the server rewrite, but yeah, they're kind of weak. And so I'd recommend using luck enhancements as they do increase crits, and you kind of want more crit damage with this class, as you might see in a couple of minutes. So yeah, you could mix 1 or 2 fighter enhancements in there as well, but really your fighter and endurance, your strength and endurance are already buffed from your passives here, so you don't really need them buffed anymore, to be honest. Now, it does have a 1 magical ability, but the effect applied from Stasis, which is its magical ability, isn't actually affected by your enhancements, so it's kind of pointless to enhance magical anyway. So yeah. Your passives though, as I mentioned before, one of them is a strength and endurance buff by 12%, and one of them is a haste increase by 15%. Now what the endurance buff is going to do is it's going to increase your health, and the haste buff is going to actually decrease your cooldowns. I'll give you a demonstration on this ability here. So it's got a 5-second cooldown as it says here, but once you've got the haste buff, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not actually 5 seconds anymore, it's actually a little bit lower. So yeah, your haste buff is going to decrease your cooldowns. Now, your actual abilities, I'll talk about them now. It's a farming class, right off the bat. All of its abilities hit the auto attack is AoE, so it's a pretty decent farming class at that as well. Now, your auto attack is called Inverted Blade, and it's a unique auto attack. It is a 1.5 second cooldown as opposed to the majority of classes being 2-second cooldowns. It basically has a 15% chance to apply Rejuvenation, which heals you slightly over 6 seconds. So it's about a 90 HOT when it does apply. It's an auto attack based effect, so even though it's a 15% chance, it applies very often, and it's quite reliable actually. It's only 90, so it's, as I said, when I say quite reliable, I mean it applies at a reliable rate. It's not necessarily a reliable heal on its own, but the other effects within the class add to the survivability quite a bit. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention, the rank 10 passive is a reduce in incoming spell damage by 40%, so any monsters that use spell damage to attack, or any other players that attack you with spell damage, are gonna have 40% less damage attacking on you, so that's kind of neat, I guess. Now, your first ability here, it's called Twisted Viper. It consumes 20 mana, has an 8-second cooldown. It basically reduces their outgoing damage. Now, I believe the percentage is 30%. Let me just go, I'm on the design notes right now. It says, yeah, so it's a 30% damage rebuff. Sorry, not rebuff, debuff. So it doesn't really deal that much damage, but it does reduce their damage by 30%, so that's kind of nice. And it does, again, all the abilities are adding sort of to the survivability, so this is one of them. It doesn't consume much, well, it does consume a bit of mana, but the mana regeneration in this class is actually really, really good. Also, it does attack like a very large amount of monsters, so it's also gonna help your mana regeneration, so that is kind of a non-existent problem here. Now, your next ability is called Ancient Wrap. It consumes 12 mana, has a 5-second cooldown, and it increases your opponent's incoming damage by 6% and reduces their chance to hit by 6%, applies at moderate DOT, and this ability the effects applied by the abilities stack 5 times. So you can get your 80 DOT actually up to about 140, so it's pretty useful. And actually the damage output buff is also, I believe, affected by this, although I've actually yet to see that. I'll test that at the end of the video for you guys to see if the damage output buff is stackable. I know the DOT is definitely stackable. Now, your next ability is called Stasis, and again, like I said before, this effect is actually not affected by your damage, your enhancements. So the effect that it does, it's got a bit of just wishy-washy description here, but the effect it does is reduces your opponent's haste by 30%, and this is, again, it's like an AoE ability, so it does it to everyone. It's by 30% regardless of your enhancements, so it's not really affected. The only thing that's going to be affected by your enhancements is the damage. So you could enhance with magical enhancements to get higher damage, but I wouldn't really recommend that. Actually, I'm not entirely sure if that's even true either. So again, like, there's not really any point enhancing with magical based enhancements at all. Your last ability is called Caricature. I don't know how to pronounce that. I probably just butchered that beyond belief, but that's 32 mana and 20-second cooldown. It's pretty much just like a nuke ability kind of thing. It also has a 25% chance to apply a stun for 4 seconds. So on its own, it deals 1.5k, sort of almost 1.6k damage. I am using a pretty stable weapon right now, by the way. It's fairly stable. It's not quite unarmed level stable, but it's pretty stable. And then with 1 stack of this, it applies damage of 2k, roundabout. I'll see if I can get more than 1 stack here to show you guys. That's 1 stack. That is 2 stacks. That is 3 stacks. I'll just keep stacking it. This is 4 stacks, and it applies damage not different whatsoever. So I don't think that the damage buff does stack, actually. So again, you're just stacking the DOT here. Now, when I guess that sort of is already implied here when it says auras stack 5 times. I guess what they mean by auras is DOTs, but I don't know. Either way, it's a really, really good farming class. The only weakness I'd say it has is in terms of its survivability. Its survivability is pretty good, except for sort of high-level monsters. I would recommend using something a bit better for farming high-level monsters, such as the ones in Honor Hall. If you're taking on the monsters in Honor Hall by yourself, then I'd recommend using something else. It doesn't quite live up to the expectation you'd kind of expect. When not expectation, I guess the recommendation for fighting monsters in Honor Hall. They are pretty strong though, so I mean, a lot of classes aren't going to be very good against those anyway. But yeah, no, as you can see here, it's taking monsters down pretty quickly and efficiently. Not really running into any mana issues by the end of that battle without even resting at all. I'm at full health, full mana, so it's not any mana or health issues there. So really is quite a good class. Nothing really to complain about. If you look at its overall damage output, it's kind of a bit weaker compared to other classes, so I'd probably put this at number 5 in terms of my top 5 farming classes. I did make my top 5 farming classes video that came out a couple of days ago before this class was actually released, so I couldn't talk about it there anyway, but people were saying that this should be replaced, this should replace Troll Spellsmith in that list, and I tend to agree. This is a better farming class than Troll Spellsmith in my opinion, so that's always a good thing. Either way though, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.